All right, so good evening and good afternoon whenever you're watching this. This is going to be a review. We're going to cover Chapter 2 on Monday the 27th, okay, and for our second closed notes test of the year. So please watch this video. Hopefully you are, and if you missed Monday, I'm going to send out a blurb to the parents. We'll go from there. The product of 4 and a number x is the quotient. So quotient is division of 3 and x minus 2. That is how I want to make sure you guys understand and write this. Okay, so one other thing I want to make sure you guys understand is that this is less than, okay, the quotient of 3 and x, less than 2. So make sure if it says less than that you actually reverse the operation. All right, please get that through your mind when you're thinking about it. On the test, you will see where it says the quotient of, there's two versions. One of them is going to say the quotient of a number, the quotient of some number and x or y, and then it'll say less than. And if it says less than, make sure you flip it around, okay? I don't want to make sure everybody that gets that version of the test is going to get it wrong. The sum of twice the number x, so the sum of twice the number x and 10 is 4 times x minus 8. Pretty much how it's written, okay? Now, translate the following equations into a verbal sentence. I want to make sure that we get this down similar so that you guys can see it. Let me grab my example over here so I know which one we're looking at. All right, so I want you guys to make sure that you guys would write this down, okay? It would be x times the difference I'm looking at the test. X times the difference of 7 minus 5 times y is, and then make sure you guys understand, is or equals the quotient, spelled that wrong, of x and 2. All right, so make sure you guys understand how we did this. X times, so x times the difference of 7, actually it wouldn't say minus, 7 and the difference of 7 and 5 times y. Okay, so I apologize for that because we already had the minus right here. Okay, the difference of, and then equals the quotient of x and 2. Now this one right here, make sure you guys understand what this says. So this one's a little bit simpler. Okay, it's going to be 3 times x minus y. All right, so 3 times x minus y equals, so hopefully I'll write that out just in case, 3 times x minus y, and it's going to equal 5 times the sum, and then the sum of y and 2 times x. Y and 2 times x. Now, on the test, these are going to be multiple choice. Okay, so make sure you guys understand what you're looking at and how to read it. So I'll back out, make sure you guys write these down. I know that's a lot of stuff to write down, but I do have to erase it so that I can show work. And fancy on that one. All right, number 3, solve. So remember, on our equations, ladies and gentlemen, you just add 10 to both sides on this, and you will have to show work. This one doesn't have an asterisk by it. So if you, this becomes x, 10 plus 7, so x is 17. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, divide by 7, okay, because that's multiplication. And if you do that, you put that in your calculator. Sure hope I made this a whole number. So it'll be negative 84 divided by 7 equals, and let me cancel that out. So it's negative 84 divided by 7, and that equals, sweet, don't forget the negative, z equals negative 12. Put it in the calculator and solve it. Number 5, two ways to do it. I'll do it the way that you guys are used to it. So remember, this is actually 3k over 8, and it's negative. And it's going to equal negative 21. So the first step would be to multiply both sides by 8. Okay? Multiply by the denominator to get rid of this. So multiply that by 8. Okay, and then you have negative 21 times 8, and that is 168. So I'm going to carry this over to here. So it's negative 3k equals negative 168. Now, when you divide, next step is to divide. Remember, when you're dividing, take the negativity with you away from the variable, or away from the exponent, sorry. So it'd be negative 3, negative 3. Now, if you put that in a calculator, all right, make sure you guys enter it correctly. But remember, a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. So k in this case is 56. So if you guys use these calculators, a real quick tip, make sure you guys use this as the negative. You can see when I put negative 168 and then I divide it by negative 3 and I hit enter, it will actually give me the positive number. So please make sure you guys do that, and hopefully that came through on the video and that wasn't slightly creepy. All right, so let me change the color on this one and let's keep going on number 6. Number 6, first step is to isolate this, get everything away from the y. So we got to do addition, subtraction until this is by itself, right? So negative 3 from both sides, you have 8y, and then that is 56. And then if you divide by 8, y is going to equal 9. Okay, is that right? 56 divided by 8? Oh no, it's 7. I can't do something like that. 7, okay? 56 divided by 8 is 7. That's why it's helpful to use calculators sometimes. All right, so let's keep going. I had to edit the video real quick. So let's write this down. X is, so 2 is subtracted from a number. Okay, so you're going to subtract 2 from a number. The result is divided by 4. This result is added to 12 and to give you 28. What is the original number? So what is x? So let's solve for x, okay? What I want to make sure you guys can do is just write it down as you see it. So we're going to subtract 12 first, okay, to isolate this variable by itself. So when we subtract 12, we're going to get x minus 4, or not 2, sorry, not 4, 2. X minus 2 over 4, and that equals 16, right? Okay. Now what you're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is get rid of the fraction. You get rid of the fraction, you're going to multiply both sides. So let me set this up, okay? Multiply both sides by the denominator, which is 4 over 1, or just 4. These cancel out, and you have x minus 2, and then 16 times 4, make sure I don't mess this up, because I have been. 16 times 4 is 64, okay? Then, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to add 2, bring the x down, x equals 66. So if we put 66 in this equation, ladies and gentlemen, we'd be able to put all this together, and we should end up with 28. So let me verify that. 66 minus 2 is 64. Divide that by 4, and then add 12, and I get 28. Sweet, got the right answer. Evaluate this function if f is negative 3 and g is 2. All right, so we have an absolute value, and it's going to be f times negative 3 minus 3 times 2 plus 3. All right, so since we have the absolute value, make sure you guys solve within the absolute value first. So 4 times the negative 3 is going to be negative 12. All right, so it's going to be negative 12 minus 6 plus 3. All right, combine these two together. Negative 12 and a negative 6 is negative 18. We still have the absolute value around it. Now, when you take the absolute value away is when you cancel out the negative. All right, so we're going to rewrite this on this side of the equation over here. Okay, we're going to rewrite this as with a bracket of 18 plus 3. The reason we're doing that is once we take the absolute value away, you take the negative away. 18 plus 3 is 21. So that is the answer. All right, so let's solve this equation. Now, please make sure you guys write this down or pause the video because I do need the space. Okay, so solve these. If you guys remember on absolute values, all right, it's two equations. That's the first one. This is the second equation. And you're going to solve because remember, you can have a positive and a negative number in here because the absolute value, it's going to be a positive 13. So the first step is the same for both pieces, which is subtract 7 from both sides. Okay, and when you do that, this one here is going to be 2n. 13 minus 7 is 6. So this is going to be 2n equals 6. All right, divide by 2, and I get n equals 3. All right, on this one, when I do it, it's going to be 2n. As these cancel out, that's negative 20. Divide by 2, and the other answer is negative 10. Hopefully you guys see that. All right? Excuse me. If you have any questions about this, please make sure you ask me on Monday, and then we'll go from there. Number 10, which ratio forms a proportion? We had done these in class, if you guys remember how to do these. All right, what I simply want you to do is put these into a calculator. So remember how the setup is, here's your original proportion, your ratios is going to be equal, and then you cross multiply. So we're going to put this in a calculator. Okay, and then we'll do the 12 over 27, and then we will do 18 over 42 equals 3 over 7. So I'm going to stop there. So let's see. Remember what you're doing is cross multiplying. So these multiply together, and this multiplies together. So I know this is 42, and it's 18. So this one would be 18 times 4 is 72. So F is not 1. All right, the next one is going to be 18 times 27 because we're cross multiplying. All right, so one side is 486. The other side needs to be 42 times 12, and this is 504. So that one's not the answer. Now let's do the 3. Okay, so it's 42 times 3. All right, that's 126 equals 18 times 7. And that is 126. So what is the answer here? When you put it in a calculator and cross multiply, it's going to be this one. Now solve this proportion. We did cross multiplication here, so you need to make sure you do cross multiplication on this one as well. So we're going to multiply this up into there, and the 6 up into here. So you get 2h equals 8 times 6. I shouldn't have to put that in a calculator, but my brain is not working. 48. Divide by 2, h equals 24. Simple enough. All right, next page. Solve this equation. All right, so remember we have variables on both sides. So let's move this variable to the left so we don't have a negative exponent. Move the variables first if you can. So it's 5a plus 33, and then it's a 3 on this side. Then we are going to subtract 33. You subtract 33 from both sides. All right, you are going to get 5a equals negative 30. Divide by 5. A equals negative 6. Hopefully you guys all see how I did that. If I'm going too fast, pause the video, rewind it, and watch it again. Okay? All right, now let's combine this one. 2x plus distribute. 3x minus 18 minus x equals, oh boy. Now, you could put 2 over 5 and times it by 10 and put it in the calculator, or you can try to do it in your head. So 2 times 10 is going to be 20, and that's going to be over 5x. And it's plus 30 over 5. Okay, now, do these simplify? Yes, they do. All right, so this would be 4x, and that's going to be plus 6. Combine all the like terms over here. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have one more. So this is 5 minus x, so we're taking out one of the x's. So this is 4x minus 18 equals. Now, I can stop here because my next step is going to be subtract 4x from both sides. All right, if I subtract 4x from both sides, what am I going to get? All right, these x's are going to cancel out. I'm going to get negative 18 equals 6. And remember, if you get a solution like this, that is no solution, because it's impossible. If you were to do this on the test, ladies and gentlemen, and you were to get 6 equals 6, remember that means infinite solutions, okay, or all real numbers. Just remember that key term, all right? So let's solve this one. When we solve this one, we're going to get 20r minus distribute 15 equals negative 4r. Negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. Okay, then you would combine the like terms and move it over. So this is going to be plus 4r. All right, I'm going to move this 4 over here. 4r. Okay, so this is going to be 24r minus 15 equals negative 32. Hopefully you guys see that. Okay, we canceled this part out. Let me change color now because they're kind of blending in a little bit. Now I'm going to lose track. Next step would be to move the number over. All right, so negative 32, let me put that in my calculator. Negative 32 plus 15 is going to be negative 17. So it's negative 17, and this is 24r. So the last step would be divide by 24. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your answer. Okay, r equals negative 17 over 24. Is that clean? No, but is that the answer? Yes. Literal equations. We're going to solve for v. We had talked about this in class. First step is move everything away from v. So we're going to add 4b to both sides. Okay, when you do that, you get 8b, and then you get 8v. That's what it equals. So you want to get v by itself, you divide by 8, divide by 8, take a look what happens. You get v equals b, all right, because they cancel out. Please make sure you guys don't freak out if you see something like this, okay? 8 divided by 8 would be v equals b. Solve the formula. Solve this one for and equal it for w. First thing you'd want to do, since this is one unit, okay, what I mean by that is this is multiplied all together, you want to get rid of the fraction first. So you multiply both sides by 2. The denominator of the opposite of the denominator here. So if you do that, it's going to be 2v, and then the half cancels out, equals LWH. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is all multiplication. So, since that's all multiplication, simply divide the L and the H out, and the L and the H out. If you do that, that cancels out. You have W left. W equals 2v over LW. All right, hopefully you guys understand how to do that. If you're struggling with this literal equation, please make sure you understand just the order of operations and how to do it. All right, employee X, this is a ratio. Employee X earns $4,200 in 4 weeks. At this rate, how much will he or she earn in 9 weeks? So we don't know, but remember the weeks are the same, and then we want to know the dollar amount. This is a ratio, so you're just going to solve for X. So the first step would be to multiply both equations by the denominator here, and then that's it. So on my calculator, I'm going to go 4,200 times 9, and then divide that by 4, and I get my answer of X equals 9,450. 18, the formula for a volume of a cone. All right, so on this one, I want to make sure you guys understand you're going to plug in. Now, everybody's going to see this volume, but the numbers are going to be different. You just want to plug in into the equation the numbers. So the volume of this cone is 126. All right, that's what V represents. Equals 1/3 pi. All right, and then it says here the radius is 6. So it's going to be 6 squared, and we're looking for H. So what you need to do on your calculator is actually enter it in. You can enter it in straight like you see it. So it'd be 1, so you can put a fraction in. all right? Or you could technically multiply both sides by 3 to start off with. So let's do that first, because remember, this is one big piece, and so if you multiply everything on this side of the equation, all right, multiply this whole thing by 3, and you multiply this by 3, then the fractions cancel out. All right, so what is 126? 126 times 3 is 378. So 378 equals, all right, now what we're going to do is 6 squared is 36. So it's going to be 36 times, and I'm going to do pi, which is 3.14. Okay, now on the calculators here, you can actually hit the pi that's on here. I got to find it. I'm not sure where it's at. Oh, it's under one of the symbols here. Or you just put in 3.14. Then you would get your answer of 113.04, and that is H. So I have my equation. This is multiplication, so you just divide both sides by that number. So if I go 378 divided by 113.04, I'm going to end up with the height is 3.34395. On the test, ladies and gentlemen, it's only going to go to 1 decimal place, I believe, possibly 2. All right, so if it goes to 2 decimal places, I would cancel this out right here, and it would just be 3.34. If you guys have any questions on this one, please make sure you see me in class or shoot me a message. All right, this is just writing an equation. The lengths of 2 adjacent sides of a rectangle are 4x plus 5, 2x minus 8. Its perimeter is 50. Write the equation that you would use to find x. So how many sides are on a rectangle? There are 2. That is your equation, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you understand that it's 2 sides of the rectangle. The sum of a number q and 25, so it's added together, is 115. I would want you to write the equation and then solve for q, and it's going to be in the same type of box. So it's going to look like this, and it's going to be a semicolon, q equals, subtract 25 from this side, subtract 25 from here. Okay, and if you do that, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get, should be able to do that in my head, 115 minus 25, and that's going to equal q equals 90. Write an equation for the following sentence. Triple a number y minus 6 is 10 more than half a number. Simple as that. Or, ladies and gentlemen, that wouldn't be an x. I'm pretty sure that's going to be, again, y over 2. Make sure I got that. Yes. Okay, since it's y, make sure it's the same variable. Now, I would also accept 10 plus 1/2 the number like that. That and that are the same thing. Okay? Last but certainly not least, 2 solutions to an absolute value equation are 3 and 17. What is the absolute value equation? Remember, we had talked about this in class. So what you want to do is, on a number line, okay, you have your point 17 and you have your point 3. And you're trying to find, right, the point in the middle somewhere around here. So you got to cut this in half. So 17 minus 3 is 14. Okay, so from here to here is 14. Cut 14 in half, and it would be here to here is what? 7. So what is 3 plus 7? It is 10. Okay, so if you remember from that, how you write the equation, ladies and gentlemen, it would be, make sure you guys set the absolute value up, that it's going to be x minus, remember it's always minus, okay, and it's going to equal, and I believe the correct setup on this is going to be equals 10, and then the difference is going to be 7, right? So we found the difference in the middle, the difference goes here, the value goes here, because if I were to solve this equation out, okay, it would be add 7 to both sides, your answer would be 17, and then if I had negative 10, I add 7 to both sides, negative 10, and 7 is going to be 3. Okay, so make sure you guys understand that aspect. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right. Okay, that's 17. Oh, -3. So that means switch it out. So I would add 10, subtract 10. So make sure you guys know, again, double check your work, because this is wrong. Which is why I always, even myself, double check my work. So if I set the equation up like this, so the middle point, the midpoint goes here, and your difference goes on the outside. And then the other equation is x minus 10 equals -7. Add 10. Add 10, ladies and gentlemen, to both sides, right? You get what? 17. 10 minus 7 is 3. So this is the correct setup. Done that 3 times. All right, so even for you guys, I want to make sure you guys understand how to make sure you set them up correctly. And that's why we do this, and to make sure, even me, I can mess it up sometimes. Probably because it's late and my brain's not functioning properly. So always make sure you double check your work. So even if your brain's not functioning properly, you'll make sure you get the right answer. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long review, but I wanted to make sure you guys could solve everything. Currently, there's 22 questions on the test. We'll see how it goes, and if it becomes too much, I might reduce it down to 20, and we'll see how everybody does on the test. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on Monday, and then we will have the test on Tuesday, so please study up. Until next time, have a good day, guys.